Negative thoughts are the main promoters of anxiety, of course, along with physical and emotional imbalance. So it is important to learn to think positively and realistically to free ourselves from anxiety and connect with happiness. Now, let's talk about some ideas on how to achieve it. I have been suffering of a little bit of anxiety lately, so it's perfect to talk about it. Now, to start to transform our thoughts, we need to stop believing that we are our thoughts. The first thing you need to do is to know that you are not your thoughts. It's very important. I'm sure you've already questioned what you think, to consider if you can be wrong in your thoughts. We are so identified with our mind that we take for granted that what we think is true simply because we think about it. The good news is that you are something so much more than your thoughts. You are a much more complex being and incredible that you think about yourself in many different ways, or what you think in general is not necessarily true. Then first identify yourself with who you really are. Essence in consciousness that realizes itself. That's who we are. We also need to understand how our mind works. Your mind is incredible. It is designed to give shape and color to the world you experience. However, this mind can sometimes be wrong. When you have a belief in your mind, she, with her perception and attention, does everything possible to show you that your beliefs are true. It plays tricks on us. There is something called attention memory and perception biases. And these biases cause our mind to filter information that doesn't suit us for the maintenance of our beliefs, and magnifies the information that does serve us. So it's very selective. For example, if you have a belief that happiness doesn't exist, your brain will only look at sad people when you go out. You will not remember the happy moments that you've had in past times. And even if you're happy with the day, you will not notice. It's only focusing on sadness. Then you need to understand that your mind, along with your brain, can fall into mistakes about how to interpret reality. Well, most of the time, you're interpreting the reality that surrounds you, so it's personalized. There's several strategies to dispel the negative thoughts and stop believing in them. We're going to talk about them, so here we go. First, find the evidence, find the facts of reality that substantiate and demonstrate that negative thinking is real. Then write down the thought contrary to that one that you've been thinking and find at least 3 facts that this new thought is true. For example, using a negative thinking, happiness doesn't exist. Facts that sustain it. I see sad people around me. Now the positive thinking, happiness does exist. Fact that supported, the gentleman of the store is always happy. Then as you will see, either of the 2 thoughts may be true. Here what matters is, what do you choose to believe? The sad or happiness? Relativize your absolutist thinking and reach a new conclusion. Now write all your thoughts. It's very difficult to work with your negative thoughts in your mind, so we need to put them down on a piece of paper. They go faster than the speed of light. They are connected with each other, and when you're wanting to work with a thought that's not working for us, you end up thinking about what you're going to eat later on that day. That's why you need to take them out of your head and write them down on paper. I recommend writing at least once a week so that all those ideas in your head come down on a piece of paper and we can see them. find the distortion of your thinking. There are certain strategies that the mind makes to distort the information it receives. We have to be very careful with that. And it's the information that comes from the inside or outside, so we need to check on those beliefs. Totalization and everything, nothing, nobody, everyone, always, never, black, white. Also, generalizations from an isolated event, you generalize to all reality. Arbitrary interference, you come to the conclusion simply because you think so. Divination of the future, you are sure that will happen because you say so. Thought reading, be sure of what others think of you. You take it personally. You believe that the actions of others revolve around you. Blame, the opposite of taking responsibility. Magnification or minimization, disproportionate facts of an original reality. Emotional reasoning, from everything you feel, you conclude that that is reality. You're making up so many things. You should think in terms of should or should not. Discard the positive, focus only on what goes wrong. So after you have recorded your thoughts, find out if you have any distortion of the truth. This in itself will help you to deny the lies of your mind and start thinking more positively, because it's what we want to do. Relativize your thoughts. The more rigid and absolutist or extreme your thoughts are, the more likely you are going to be mistaken. So every time you find yourself asserting a thought, just because you feel it or because they taught you that way, activate your questioning and ask yourself again with your logical mind how true that thought is and how you can relativize it. Invert the creation process. Neil D. Walsh says in the book Conversations with God that to change a negative thought, you have to reverse the process of creating your reality. The normal process is creation is thought, word, and action. Reversing this process means that you think about actions that are contrary to that thought. If you feel good, what would you do? And then you force yourself to go out and do something that makes you feel good. I feel good today, and you repeat it until your thoughts generate it, and you can really believe it. If you repeat it, you believe it. These last few days, I've been dealing with some anxiety. This is what helped me the most. I dedicated myself to doing the opposite of what my mind told me I had to do. Since convinced a stage in my mind where I was wrong and it caused discomfort. So I stopped listening to my mind and went to the actions, sending my body substances and needing to find a place to be happy until I got it again. Also, I suggest becoming a philosopher scientist. For me, philosophers are scientists of the human nature, and it seems to me that it would be good for each one of us to be our own philosopher of our own nature. Investigate yourself, put on evidence, and activate your logic and your ability to reason and find evidence to see if your thinking is true or not. Answer yourself as if you loved yourself. Before each thought that torments you, you will respond as if you were the person who loves you the most in the world. Instead of just believing that you are going to talk with you, you need to become a cheerleader, reassuring yourself and telling you the truth. There's no better best friend than yourself. Speak to your thoughts. This is a very fun exercise. You sit anywhere on a chair and you personalize yourself in negative thinking. And you will imagine that in front of you is the other you, the opposite pole, your positive thinking. And you will convince in this argument your positive thinking that you're true until you just run out of arguments substantiating your negativity. Then you go to the other place of your positive thinking, and now you are going to convince that ugly negative side of yours that he is a lie and you are the truth. Do this as many times as necessary, changing the role until you run out of arguments. In the end, you sit in the middle facing the two thoughts, the positive thought and the negative thought, and you will tell them from your center, from yourself, the conclusion you really want to reach. Remember, don't be biased on any side. Decide what you want to think. I do not know why we think we are condemned to our thoughts, as if we did not have the freedom to choose them. We do have freedom to choose what goes here. Therefore, I recommend that you write everything you think about yourself, the world, and others. Write it down and write those beliefs down and go one by one, choosing what you want to believe in and those that make you happy and which ones don't serve any purpose. Choose, make the decision to believe or not to believe certain beliefs. With this, you will take back all the power. I can have a negative thought, but if I choose not to believe it, and at that moment, what happens? It loses its power. Activate positive affirmations. Positive affirmations are phrases that you say out loud, but impregnate yourself with feelings and emotions. That is, by saying them, you really feel that they're true. You can do them while you relax at night, focusing on your breathing, releasing tension, and at the same time, you can say to yourself, I am safe. I have everything I need to be happy. My mind has all the capacity to think positive. I choose to think positive. I accept myself as I am. I love myself as I am. You can write those down as well. And observe your mind. Basically, with this point, I mean meditate. Meditate observing your mind. It will allow you to know your mind, and knowing your mind, it's a work that will help you know how it works and understand how it works and build a better relationship with it. Taking your reins from your consciousness. For this, simply sit down to observe your breathing, to stay focused on it. But open your mind, generating the thoughts you want to generate. I'm always an advocate of meditating, and I have a course to teach you that you can go and take the class at culture10academy.com. These last few days, I've been having a lot of anxiety. Why? Because I have not been focusing on the present moment. I allowed the future to take away my present moment. It just drew me into the future, and obviously, when we are living in the future, it could cause a lot of anxiety. So I have allowed that to happen to me. But it's time to take the reins back. It's time to be in the present moment. It's time to work with those negative thoughts. This is why I've been explaining all this, so you can have some strategies that you can use for yourself to help you become the very best version of yourself that you can be happy on any day. And even on those difficult days, we know that they are not forever. It's a matter of doing it today, starting from within, and just going with it.